Today we're talking about the new Jurassic World movie. Yeah, the movie isn't out yet, but we talk about something that is the elephant in the room. Okay, and that is, of course, dinosaurs being let loose into the wild. So, if you do not know what an invasive species is, it is an animal that is not native to its area. Of course, not every introduced species is considered invasive. For example, there are zebra in California that are actually roaming freely. There are warthogs in Texas, and there are tortoises that have been reintroduced to islands in Africa. Not all species that have been introduced are invasive, and some are helpful. But dinosaurs, and yeah, we're going to go over every single species of dinosaur and see what the impacts would be. So Velociraptor, which Velociraptor, as portrayed in the movie, it would actually be a Deinonychus. But we're going to be doing the scientifically accurate dinosaurs. So Velociraptor as it is a predator that went extinct 71 million years ago. Okay. So, yeah, this is just for fun because we're talking about the movie. Okay, and if the hypothetical movie actually happened, but Velociraptor went extinct 71 million years ago. And it's not even native to the Americas either. So, you have a species that hasn't been alive for 71 million years. Okay, but the ecosystems have evolved about them. And also, Velociraptor would look like this. Okay, an actual Velociraptor would look like this. So, most people would probably... And Velociraptors are not that big. Okay. As well. So, you know... They're around like the size of like a wolf. Basically. They're not really that big. This is how big. No. I think that's like a coyote size. That's even smaller than a wolf. Okay. And Deinonychus, okay, is around the size of a Velociraptor. Okay. Actual Velociraptors, but yeah, Velociraptor would be a size of a turkey. This is the size of a turkey, so it would basically be the same. It would basically be no different than bigger than a turkey. So the thing is, Velociraptors would be having to compete with coyotes, okay, which already exist in North America, wolves and bears, okay, and you know, Velociraptor would probably have one of the hardest times surviving. Okay, because Velociraptor is not the same size as the Velociraptor in Jurassic Park. Okay, so they already got that wrong. And it's just an animal the size of a turkey. Okay, and birds always struggle against animals as it is. Okay, there's not really many flightless birds. Because one disadvantage that a Velociraptor would have is it has to lay eggs. And of course, when the raptor is hunting, you know, raccoons and other animals would eat the eggs. So, even then Velociraptors might mate in pairs like modern birds. So, that might not be that big of an issue. And even like stuff like, you know, Rocky of Dinosaurs, they portrayed dinosaurs like Tyrannosaurus, you know, mating in pairs like modern birds. Birds, basically. And then, of course... And of course, all the dinosaurs, they go away after each other, and that's after the babies are hatched or something like that. But yeah, I think dinosaurs would be more like birds, where they mate in pairs. And I don't know if birds. I think birds probably mate for life, but they mate. Some birds mate for life and some don't. Okay, T-Rex probably didn't mate for life like humans did, but do. But yeah, Velociraptor. And Velociraptor would basically be no different than dealing with like a real life turkey if we had to deal with them. They're like the size of a turkey or a coyote or, you know, like a small wolf or a small dog. They're also really fast as well. And they would probably mostly play on the smaller animals. Which would probably be like a deer okay? And they would probably do well in places where there aren't, many apex predators, okay? For example, places where there are no cougars, no bears, and no wolves, like Illinois, Indiana, and, some parts of the South as well. So, but the raptor would struggle very hardly against the big predators. It might become like a scavenger animal, like a vulture. But we're going to move on to the next dinosaur. That's the T-Rex. So the T-Rex is... The problem is T-Rex would probably just play on all the big dinosaurs. It would just keep the big, dinosaurs in check. So T-Rex is around 40 feet long. And weighed up to 11,000 to 15,000 pounds. So T-Rexes were huge. Okay? And there's a lot... T-Rex is one of the most studied animals in the dinosaur world. And it's not the largest dinosaur. Giganotosaurus is also in Jurassic World, is in this movie, is in, as well. But T-Rex, wouldn't really pose a big threat because it's not going to eat a deer. Okay, it's going to probably go after the big herbivores. It might eat a deer because, of course, lions sometimes eat hares and deer and rabbits, but I think T-Rexes would probably change the environment to something very, very different because of how big they are. Okay, for example, hippos are changing the environment of Colombia. Okay, imagine it is a gigantic prey. Of course, there's no big prey. Okay, there's nothing in really North America that the T-Rexes will eat. Okay, there's really nothing that will probably sustain them. I mean, actually have big dinosaurs in North America. So, yeah. Next is the Stegosaurus. So herbivores, I think, are more dangerous than carnivores because they have to compete with the existing deer and elk that already live and bison that already live here, and they would probably feed on the grasses and stuff and be in like woodlands and stuff, But these herbivores would be competing with the big herbivores, this would probably be a bigger extinction, where it would be a horrendous thing for existing herbivores, okay, because they would be outcompeted, because there's more than one species of dinosaur, and basically, dinosaurs are also warm-blooded as well. The only thing is restricting them is that Stegosauruses don't really, have any protection against winter, similar to T-Rex, as well. Velociraptors could probably spread everywhere, but Stegosaurus, the problem is they would be very, very restricted in the range, okay? They would be very, very restricted in the range. They would not really be past, like Arizona, Nevada, California, Utah, and maybe just be restricted to, like, Mexico and, of course, southern North America as well. I don't really see them going up to, like, Wyoming and stuff. I can see, like, the long necks going up there because of their thick skin. But, yeah, Stegosaurus is probably going to be restricted to, like, places like California and places like Arizona. But these herbivores would basically outcompete the existing herbivores, and it would be a big problem as well. Same thing with Triceratops. Triceratops would probably be very aggressive. But again, I think Triceratops would similar to these, like Stegosaurus, to like extinct Glyptodons and stuff. But the problem is, they're just so big. Dinosaurs are just so big. Okay, Stegosaurus was 21 feet long. Triceratops was like 20 to 30 feet long. Okay, these animals are larger than elephants. Okay. So Triceratops size was around 26 to 30 feet. So Triceratops was huge. Okay, the largest mammal was the size of a Triceratops, basically, the Indracophil. Okay, and Triceratops was likely to be restricted to more warmer areas because it doesn't really have thick skin, and of course more feathered Triceratops and Stegosaurus was probably spread into more northern areas over time through evolution. But again, just like, other large herbivores, dinosaurs, they would displace the native herbivores as well. And, this could go the same thing with a Apatosaurus, Ankylosaurus, and Triceratops as well. Okay. And same with the T-Rex and other carnivores. Okay. You would basically be replacing the already existing ecosystem. Yeah, North America is lacking in megafauna, but dinosaurs are not really the best choice. Instead, try to revive woolly mammoths and other animals that have already been extinct, instead of bringing back animals that were extinct millions of years ago. Yeah, that's a really good idea. Then we have Mosasaurus. Mosasaurus are a real interesting one. Okay? Because unlike the big dinosaurs, which will just probably just create their own niches overall because of how big they are, and they would probably just fill all of the big animal niches that already don't exist. But mosasaurs would be a pretty interesting one because mosasaurs are found in the ocean. Okay. Yeah, and Mosasaurus can be up to 60 feet long. Okay, which would dwarf the largest carnivore. Which means, yep, whales would be in danger. Okay, whales are very important animals for marine ecosystems, and introducing an animal like this would decimate whale populations. Okay, they would decimate whale populations because of how big they are. Okay, they would, yeah, and the largest known mosasaur was this big, and they are pretty big. Animals like whales and stuff, okay, would basically suffer. Okay, and yeah, mosasaurs will not be this big. Okay, they will not be this big. They would probably be around here. Okay. But the thing is, there was always some competition as great white sharks and orcas, but the thing is, these animals are so big, they would outcompete a lot of these animals and create they would basically create a new ecosystem, and whales would have to evolve to deal with mosasaurs and stuff. But they would just be considered another invasive species because they would just wreck whale populations as a whole. Yeah, they would wreck whale populations and wreck animals overall. So, yeah. Another animal is Gallimimus, a more interesting animal because it's smaller. Okay. So Gallimimus is around 6'6" tall, and it would basically, be formed of small animals. It's around the same size like a, large DL, basically. It is pretty long and pretty, but at the height, we're talking about the height here. It's around the same height as a DL, and its length was around 26 feet long. Well, around 6 meters long, but it was kind of like one of those animals. But again, they would just outcompete native animals that already live here. Okay, and Pteranodon, okay. Pteranodons would just coexist with birds because birds already coexisted with Pteranodons. And the problem with Pteranodons and birds is birds would probably, bully Pteranodons or something like that. Eagles and big birds. Okay, Pteranodons would probably do the worst here because of birds. Okay, and the Pteranodons would have to find some way to coexist with birds and large birds. I know Pteranodon's like big, but it's still. Well, most birds are way smaller than Pteranodon, and also Pteranodon is more bulky and bigger. So yeah, and animals like Sigiboric would probably compete with, of course, the bighorn sheep. Concernicus would be a pretty interesting one, but it would just be like another small animal that would just be eaten by bigger animals. And I think Coxswarditis would pose the least amount of threats to, large animals that only exist in North America. So basically, this video is teaching you, don't introduce dinosaurs into the modern world unless you do some preparation to do it. But even then, it's still not a good idea because dinosaurs could basically ruin existing native ecosystems that already exist, and they'll just add to the pile of introduced invasive species in North America. So if dinosaurs are ever brought back, they should just stay on private ranches and private lands, and should be killed if released outside of these private lands and zoos. So yeah, that's basically, and yeah, because dinosaurs have been extinct for 66 million years ago. Okay, they've been extinct for so long that reintroducing animals that have been extinct for so long will decimate the already existing ecosystem. So basically, these dinosaur rights activists basically brought doom on the North American, European, Asian, South American, and African ecosystems, with already endangered and critically endangered species, especially large mammals as well, and vulnerable species, going straight to extinction, most likely, being outcompeted by dinosaurs who have been cloned back to life. So that's basically about this video. Goodbye.